Hey guys, I wanted to make a video that focuses on expanded universe storylines, some ones that have happened, some upcoming ones, and how I think they could be tied to the characters from the main movie series. So, first of all, I think that Ezra is in the unknown regions. If you watch the ending of Rebels, you saw how Ezra hyperspaced with Thrawn, and we don't know where they are, but I assume it's the unknown regions. And Ahsoka and Sabine are searching for Ezra. And I think that Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra are going to run into Snoke in the unknown regions. I actually think that some of Snoke's past and his background is going to be explained in the animated series with Ahsoka and Sabine looking for Ezra. Because obviously that is going to be a show. I also have a theory that Ahsoka is the one who scarred up Snoke, who disfigured Snoke. At first, I thought Snoke was Darth Plagueis, Palpatine's old master. One, because he was scarred up and he was really scarred up on the head. And the other reason was because in Revenge of the Sith, there's the music with Anakin and Palpatine, and they're talking about Darth Plagueis when Palpatine says, "Have you ever heard of the story of Plagueis the Wise?" and all of that. And it's the same music that is played when Snoke is talking to Kylo in The Force Awakens. But after The Last Jedi, I don't think he is Plagueis. So I know a lot of people thought that the scars came from Palpatine, and that's what I originally thought as well. And then some people thought that it was Luke, that Luke is the one who scarred up Snoke and messed up Snoke. But when I was thinking about it, and I was watching The Last Jedi again, and I was really looking at his scars, and I thought to myself, what if it was Ahsoka? If Ahsoka is the one who messed up Snoke? Because one, Ahsoka gave Anakin a scar. She scarred him up. Some of his scars actually came from her, and they showed that in Star Wars Rebels, the episode where Darth Vader and Ahsoka fight. So, in the Return of the Jedi, when Luke takes off Vader's mask and he has the scars, they're not all from Obi-Wan. Ahsoka messed him up as well. I just don't think it was Luke that gave Snoke his scars. I don't think it was him. I don't have that feeling. I feel like it would be so cool if it was Ahsoka. I absolutely love that idea. Maybe Ahsoka saves Luke from Snoke. I think that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty interesting. Because Luke is Anakin's son, so Ahsoka would watch out for Luke. And I definitely think Ahsoka is going to meet Luke. I think the character that scarred up Snoke is not a character that anybody's thinking of. And I would just absolutely love it if it was Ahsoka. One, Ahsoka is more of a gray Jedi. She says she's not a Jedi. So I would think it would be fitting. I don't think she'd have any problem messing his face up. Like, I think she would try to kill Snoke. I think the next animated series with Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine and all that, I think it's going to talk a lot about the unknown regions. And like I mentioned before, I think that Ezra and Thrawn are in the unknown regions. And there are a lot of expanded universe storylines with Palpatine being interested in the unknown regions. So I really think the next animated series with Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine is going to focus on the unknown regions and probably go back to characters like Palpatine who were interested in the unknown regions and Snoke. I'm also really excited about this series because it's post-war. It's after the Empire has fallen, and there hasn't been storylines for that yet. And I'm really excited to see that time period because there's so much that we don't know. We still don't know a lot that has happened. I mean, it's been a long amount of time from after the Return of the Jedi to the time period of Force Awakens. And if you have watched some of my other videos, you know how I really want to see a younger Ben Solo before he became Kylo Ren. And I want to know what his relationships were like with some of the other characters. Like, what was his relationship like with Chewie? What was it like with Lando? And with Clone Wars, a lot of the storylines in Clone Wars were showing how Anakin became closer and closer to the dark side. Like, we all know Revenge of the Sith, he is terrified of losing Padme, and so that's how he goes to the dark side, or that's the final straw that makes him go to the dark side. But the Clone Wars show, it showed a lot of plot lines, and it showed how other things contributed to Anakin becoming Darth Vader to fall into the dark side. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that with Kylo as well, if in an animated series they showed how factors were causing Ben Solo to become Kylo. Like, we all know that Luke trying to kill him while he was asleep is what caused him to fall to the dark side. But I think in an animated show, they would show other things, like maybe some other family issues that caused that fall to the dark side. So I want to talk about some Star Wars news for episode 9 that has been buzzing around the internet. So I have heard that a female character from the expanded universe is going to be in episode 9. And I have heard that the character is supposed to be in her 40s or her 50s. So I think, and I would absolutely love this, I would be so happy, I think it is Sabine. If you guys have watched my other videos, then you know how I think Sabine would be the perfect character to bring for episode 9, especially if Rey is the granddaughter of Obi-Wan and Satine. And Satine was the queen of Mandalore, and in the end of Star Wars Rebels, Sabine gives the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan is Satine's sister, and then Bo-Katan becomes the leader of Mandalore. In my other videos, I've talked about how I think Sabine would be the perfect character to explain Rey's past, if Rey is related to Obi-Wan and Satine, if she's their granddaughter, because Sabine has connections with Rey's family. She has connections with Bo-Katan in Star Wars Rebels. A while back ago, there was an interview where they said that characters from Star Wars Rebels and characters from Star Wars Expanded Universe storylines were going to be featured in live-action films in the main film series. And they have had Chopper, the orange droid from Star Wars Rebels. He was in Rogue One. The ship The Ghost, which is in Rebels, is in Rogue One. And Saw Gerrera, who originally was a character that started on Clone Wars, and he's in Star Wars Rebels, he was in Rogue One. Filoni has said in several interviews how Star Wars Rebels is a Star Wars story. It's connected. It's not its own separate thing. And how what they wrote for the show, they wrote it to match up with the movies. And how everything is connected. And Sabine is a Mandalorian. So if Rey is the granddaughter of Obi-Wan and Satine was a Mandalorian queen, that means that Rey is a Mandalorian. So it would make sense to bring Sabine into episode 9, because Sabine is a Mandalorian. In my Sabine and Rey video, I talk in more detail how I think Sabine and Rey are connected, and also in my Star Wars Rebels character theory video, if you want to check that out if you haven't seen those. I know a lot of people think it's Mara Jade, and I would love to see Mara Jade. Mara Jade is awesome. If you don't know about Mara Jade, She is an old expanded universe character, and she was Luke's wife. Mariah Jade and Luke were enemies at first, and Mariah Jade tried to kill Luke, and then they fell in love. I'd love to see Mariah Jade, but I don't think one movie would be enough time to explain her backstory. I think it would be easier to explain Sabine. Even if someone didn't know who she was, the people in the movie theater didn't know who Sabine was, it would be kind of easy to explain. I do think there is a possibility for Mara Jade to be in the new canon. They brought back Thrawn and his little goon, so I think it's a high chance of her coming back in an animated series. She was a really popular character, and I don't know in the new storylines if they'll make her and Luke be married, but I wonder if what they'll do is they'll kind of have an Obi-Wan and Satine thing where Obi-Wan and Satine loved each other but they weren't married. So I wonder with new storylines if that's what they're going to do with Luke and Mariah Jade, that they loved each other but they weren't married. So there is a new animated Star Wars show that is coming out this fall called Star Wars Resistance. There's not a whole lot of information about it. It's about a pilot, and it's going to take place before The Force Awakens. According to what I read from Entertainment Weekly, that the actors that play Poe and Phasma are going to voice their characters in the series. I don't know if it's going to be more like Forces of Destiny. Dave Filoni is doing it, so he has connected everything that he's done. Dave Filoni said that it was going to be anime inspired, and it sounds like it's mostly about the pilots, which makes sense with the title and everything. And I feel like it's probably going to be more maybe of an action show. And the Star Wars Rebels TV show was a lot about the Force, like they had the pilots and everything, but it was a lot about the Force too, because naturally there were Force sensitive characters in that series. But so I wonder if this one is kind of going to be less Jedi-ish, which would make sense because I assume that there's not going to be any Jedi characters in the Star Wars Resistance show because Luke's in hiding, Rey hasn't shown up on the scene yet. I wonder if the show is going to explain more about the Resistance, because I honestly really didn't know what the Resistance really was in Force Awakens. It really wasn't until I read some other Star Wars Expanded Universe storylines and when I played Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is an amazing game. It has a great story. I really learned more about the Resistance. So I wonder if this show is kind of going to explain that in better detail. I also wonder if Hera is going to be in this Resistance show because Hera is a pilot. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there are any theories you would like to share, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, what do you guys think about a female expanded universe character coming into episode 9? Who do you guys think it is? Who do you want it to be? I'm so excited about that. And what do you think of the Star Wars Resistance show? If you have any thoughts on that, please share them with me. I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please like it and please subscribe. And please hit that notification bell to get notifications. Also, if you hear a loud breathing noise or snoring, I apologize again. My corgi was sleeping and he was snoring while he was sleeping while I was doing this video. Anyways, I will see you guys next time, and remember, may the Force be with you.
One of our troops has abandoned his unit.